فاعلم أنه لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. So, before I begin the dars today, today's dars will probably be one of the most scariest seeming, but it's really easy, like Abdurrahim said. In reality, it's easy. So, we have marfu'at, mansubat, majurat, tawabi'. We're going to memorize them, inshallah. Marfu'at are 6, alright? Mubtada, khabar, fa'il, naib an al-fa'il, khabar inna, and ism kana. 6, that's it, easy, right? So we memorize all the marfu'at, inshallah. And again, you guys are beginning level. Most of you have had absolutely no actual formal Arabic training, but mashallah, even when the brother that came that had been studying only Arabic for 20 years gave his dars, you could hang, you could understand, you could answer questions. So that means you're making amazing progress, mashallah. So don't get scared or afraid. This are the mansubat. We've already done a few, but I'm going to give you a brief introduction to all of them, and then we're going to go over, inshallah, in detail 6 of them, so that you'll know 6 today. There are 11 altogether. Okay? And when we're done with this, it's all downhill after that, because majrurat, only 2, tawabi', only 4. Easy, tawabi', they just follow, right? So it's all easy past this. And this is easy too, but it's not as easy. Tayyib. So, mansubat, when something is made mansub, it can be represented with a fatha, it can be represented with a alif. We'll discuss that later, inshallah. But from the things that are made mansub are the ism of inna, right? We discussed this in great detail, bloods and crips and ism and kana. So you guys got that already. Easy, right? Right, Harun? Easy, right? So ism inna, you already got it. Khabar kana, same. You just do the opposite, you already got it. You already got 2 out of the 11. Woohoo! Maf'ul bihi, we hit this to a great amount, and it's all good. We already know maf'ul bihi. So, what is maf'ul bihi?
It's represented by
What is it?
Something that's affected.
When something happens to that thing.
Right, it's what is affected, what is done to. So if I said Daraba Uthmanu Zaydan, Zayd got beat up. He's the maf'ul bihi. So that we've already done from the Quran, we already know it. So 3 out of the 11 you got. Woohoo! Tayyib, maf'ul mutlaq. We already did this as well. But we're going to do it again a little bit. Just to make sure you get it, and you get it really well. Tayyib. So, when we look at Kallama Allahu Musa taklima, right? In the Quran, our father here, we good? Tayyib. Kallama, what is this?
To speak. Spoke.
Excellent. Spoke. It's your fi'l. And Allahu, the Ismul Dhul Jalala, this is your fa'il. Tayyib. Musa, this is your Tayyib. And probably from the context of our dars, you can tell me taklima is what? Maf'ul mutlaq. So what does that mean? When we look at this ayah from the Quran, and again, we're not making our own translation, but to the meaning, when you hear it and how you understand it, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke to Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, right? So what is taklima? Like if you said, Kallama Allahu Musa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke to Musa alayhi salatu wasalam.
It's a speech.
So we already said Kallama. So what's taklima? Directly? Okay. But taklima doesn't mean directly, right? Taklima is maf'ul mutlaq, to show a stress, an emphasis on it. It wasn't a regular speaking. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His speech is perfect. It's direct. That's one of the aspects of tafsir we get from it. but it's also that it was a great speaking. That this maf'ul mutlaq, what we're doing here, has no independent meaning. It's only used to show emphasis. If I said daraba Uthmanu Zaydan darban, right? Now, and this is like we were discussing balagha in the last dars. Even though this is below balagha, we're still in nahu right now, but this is from the beautiful method of speaking. If I say to you, Uthman hit Zayd, that's one thing. But if I said, Uthman, he hit Zayd, a beating that he'll remember till he's 80 years old, right? Now,
Emphasis.
what I'm telling you has a whole different depth of what I'm telling you. So if I said, Daraba Uthmanu Zaydan, okay. But if I told you, Daraba Uthmanu Zaydan darban, oh man, he really beat him. It wasn't just like, he put him in a hospital. So this is something to show an emphasis and to beautify the way you're speaking. You don't want to speak like a 2-year-old, I want candy now, You want to speak with some elegance, with some beauty. And that's the beauty of the Arabic language. And that's how you can appreciate the Quran. Because the Bedouins who heard the Quran in Arabia, they didn't know about the scientific miracle. They didn't know Zakir Naik or Dr. Mirs Bukai or all these kinds of things. They heard this and this affected their heart. And today we miss that because we've lost that language. Tayyib. Now, I thought about not giving you the second example because it's a little advanced and it's going to throw you off. But then I thought, let's have some fun with them. So, Harun, read for us the second ayah.
وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا.
Tayyib. وَاذْكُرُوا. To make adhkar, make dhikr, remember, right? And it's a jam'ah, so it's an order for all of us, right? Allah. Why?
That's the
What is the i'rab here? So, وَاذْكُرُوا is fi'l, right? Fi'l amr, excellent. Man, Abdurrahim, you were meant for Arabic. Tayyib, this is fi'l madi, like madi. Tayyib. So who's the fa'il? Us. This, no, the fa'il is not Allah. This is why there's a fatha on here. It's not telling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remember. It's telling us to remember. But who is being remembered? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the Ism Dhul Jalala here is the what? Maf'ul bihi. Excellent. Right? And kathira, what does that mean?
much remembrance.
A lot. In abundance. No. This is a weird case. Why? Because usually the maf'ul mutlaq has to come from the fi'l. So this could have been dhikran. But here we have kathiran, but this is maf'ul mutlaq. And this is an odd case. And only I want to throw this out, I don't want you to get too ingrained that it has to come. This is sometimes called na'ib of the maf'ul mutlaq. Because this is showing you an emphasis on the dhikr. That don't just make dhikr of Allah, like don't just remember Allah, but remember Allah, a great remembering. So you could have said dhikran as maf'ul mutlaq, but kathiran here has taken the place of it, so it is also the maf'ul mutlaq here. Tayyib. Who should we go with? Let's go with Sheikh Abdul Qadir.
واذكروا الله
No, where did that?
فإني أعذبه عذابا.
طيب فا and inni will leave. أعذب. This is فعل. طيب. Now the who is pointing towards مفعول به, the one who's being punished. عذابا. What is this? Oh, but أعذب would have told you the punishment already. I'm punishing them. This is مفعول mutlaq. You see it comes out of the fi'l and it is only for emphasis. Excellent. So in the Quran you will find مفعول mutlaq a lot and it changes what is being conveyed. One is that you just punish somebody. One is عذابًا. That is a really strict, harsh. And the Arabic language is beautiful like that. There's a lot of ways to show emphasis. And there's a hierarchy of some of them being stronger than others. طيب. وأمطرنا. This is your fi'l. What does أمطرنا mean?
We send down.
Sending down rain. Na. This is the fa'il actually. This is a damir pointing towards that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying we sent down the. So who sent it? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alayhim. This is jar majroor. In the place of the maf'ul bihi. Who was it sent down upon? Alayhim, upon them. Matran. What is this? Maf'ul mutlaq. Maf'ul bihi would be alayhim. It was upon them. Matran doesn't have any other meaning except to show a great emphasis. That it didn't just rain. It rained, it drowned, it flooded, it covered the area. So this amtarna matran, u'adhibu adhaban, kallama takliman, wadhkuru dhikran would have been there, but kathiran took its place and it's still maf'ul mutlaq. But you get the point, right? So what is maf'ul mutlaq? It's mansoob, right? And it is there for emphasis to beautify a meaning, to show a great amount. Kathaba Uthmanu kithaban, right? That he didn't just write, he wrote amazingly, right? But if you just said Kathaba Uthmanu, he wrote. Maybe he didn't really write that well, maybe it was a little bit, maybe it was a lot. How do you convey that, right? You could have said inna, you could have used something else too. There are other ways. But like inna, and well, inna only comes on asma. Right? You can't use that with af'al. With af'al you have lam, you have qad, you have other things you can use. But Arabic is beautiful because there's so many ways to show emphasis. Now when you find innama and you find inna, you should know the difference. When you find la or illa or ma or illa, you should show there's a very high level of emphasis. طيب.
On maf'ul mutlaq, it's always fathatain, I'd say.
No, it's mansoob, but there are different ways to make something mansoob. So right now, just remember it's mansoob. It could be with fatha, fathatain, could be with other things. We haven't got into the different alamat of raf' and nasb and stuff. We don't want to confuse the brothers that much yet. It's not going to make it that painful. طيب. So now you got maf'ul mutlaq, right? Everybody good? You good, bro? What's your name?
Musa.
Huh?
Ursa.
Ursa?
Isa, Isa.
Isa. Okay, you good, Isa? Musa, I think I know your name. طيب. مفعول فيه. Now, from the name of it, it should tell you something. Well, I mean, just from looking at fihi, what would it tell you? In it. Fihi. This is also called dharf. If you look in the Arabic books, dharf, maybe you have it in some other language you study as well. Dharf. Maf'ul fihi and dharf, same thing. Now this is very easy. Like anything so far confusing, you guys? Everybody good, right? It's all easy, right? Like I said. Now, since I don't want to get into confusing stuff yet. Maf'ul fihi is when something is done in something, right? Now there's two things something can be done in. What two are they? Something could be done in a place or a time, right? Like I wrote this in San Diego. Is that a time or place? Place. Or you could say I wrote this in 1999. I'm not that old. Okay. So, right? Now is that a time or place? So there is dharf, makan, and dharf, zaman. Easy, right? So maf'ul fihi is called dharf. It's a container. And I have a beautiful statement here you can read. It says مفعول فيه يقع في جواب متى أو أين. Maf'ul fihi comes in the answer of when or where. Right? So if you ask me, when did you write the book on Raf al-Yadayn? I can tell you, in this year. Right? Now that's maf'ul fihi, in 2006 or whatever. If you ask me, where did you write it? Aina. I can tell you, I wrote it in San Diego, in Pakistan, in Medina, wherever I was traveling. So it shows you where. So this is maf'ul fihi. It's very easy. Like some of the Arabic durus, they make it very complicated. I'm making it easy for you guys, alright? So maf'ul fihi will be an answer to where or when. If it's about where, then it'll be dharf makan, place, right? If it's when, then it's going to be dharf zaman. So easy, right? Good. So far. Let's look at some examples. Who knows more Arabic between both of you?
Well, yeah, come on.
You and Abdul
Who
Qadir.
knows more Arabic than me?
Alright, excellent. Abdul
Let's see who
Qadir,
does.
read for us and tell us the meaning of this ayah to the best of your ability. وإذا
وإذا رأيت ثم رأيت نعيما وملكا كبيرا.
طيب.
وإذا رأيت
و is
إذا
عطف.
عطف.
Leave that. إذا شرطية, leave it. رأيت.
When you see,
صا
رأيت. Right? رأي, to see.
to see.
Ta is speaking to you. That, and this is really talking about when you will see. طيب. ثم.
ثم
And then. Okay.
رأيت again same thing.
And then. Again.
نعيم.
نعيما.
نعيما. What is
and
نعيم?
the نعمة of Allah.
Bounties.
bounties. وملكا
Kingdom.
Kingdom. Dominion.
كبيرا.
Great.
Kabira. Great. Wrong. Why wrong? Come on, brothers. It didn't say thumma. Is the ayah thumma or thamma?
ثم.
Ah, your hifz is strong, but the meaning,
May Allah give it to us.
that's what we're here for. May Allah bless it for
I
you.
mean,
Thamma doesn't mean then. Thumma means then.
ثم.
Thamma bil fatha ala tha. And I was hoping that we would have some native Arabic speakers for us to put to shame. I mean, for us to ask questions up here, but
ثم.
qadar Allah ma sha'a fa'al.
After that,
If you ask an average, well-learned, well-studied Arab, don't give him a heads up. Just ask him, what does thamma mean? He will tell you then, or he'll tell you, you said it wrong. You're not Arab. It should be thumma. Ha ha. They tell him, that's not what it says in the Quran. So, thamma actually means hunaka. Yani there. And that's the meaning of the ayah. وَإِذَا, and then when, as a shart, رَأَيْتَ, when you see there, ثَمَّ رَأَيْتَ, what will you see? You will see نَعِيمًا. You will see great bounties of Allah. And you will see mulkan, a great dominion, kabiran, that's huge. There, not then, because then wouldn't make sense. There is the meaning of thamma, and thamma is what? Darf or maf'ul fihi. Because there is in the answer of
Where?
aina. No, not mata, not when. Where? There. Right? It's telling you. You good with Ibrahim? No. So this is very nice. You should keep this example. I'll give you the ayah numbers and stuff, and you can use this to have fun with your friends sometimes. Be like, yes, somebody, what does this ayah mean? You know, and a lot of brothers, they'll just say it then, because they're used to thinking thumma. But the Arabic language is deep. Tayyib. In another example, Tayyib. Zaman. Harun.
دعوت قومي ليلا ونهارا.
Tayyib. This is Nuh alayhi salam's statement.
Uh-huh.
He says,
I called to my people night and day.
excellent. So now, let's make Arab here. دعوت, I called. I gave da'wah. فعل. قومي. قوم is your مفعول به. But there is a ya, and that's why there's a kasra, because it's my nation. Nisba, right? Qawmi. But now, mata, when? Night and day. Laylan, night and day, nahara. These are maf'ul fihi, or dharf, of mata. Zaman, when? Night and day, without fail. He was calling towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tayyib? Allahu Akbar. There it is, man. There it is. Get it done. Tayyib.
You just made up for the time you were gone.
Alright. Now, look at this example here. Khalidina fiha abada. What does that mean?
They'll be in there for like forever.
Forever.
Ever.
Ever? Forever, ever?
Yes.
طيب خالدين فيها أبدا. When people go to Jannah or Jahannam, it's not for a while, except for believers that may go to Jahannam and come out. But the people of Tawheed, when they go to Jannah, it's forever. And the people of Shirk and Kufr, when they go to Jahannam, it's forever. And that's a very scary thing. That's a very, I mean, if you really sit and think about it, your priorities will line up like dominoes, man. You know, so people are like, oh, my iman's weak, I can't do this. Sit and think about these ayat. You know, forever is a long, long time. But for our dars, what do we know? Abadan, what would this be?
Forever.
I got the meaning.
I mean, emphasis.
Tell you? No, it's telling you for how long, right? It will be zaman. Abadan, forever and ever and ever, right? So, when we look at Wallahu ma'a sabirin, Allah is with the patient. He is with those who are patient. So, when you look at all of these types of dharf, I gave you a list here, inshallah, of some of the at least most commonly used dharf. And this is very important, because you got the concept, right? You got it? Dharf, or maf'ul fihi, is a container that contains either when something happened or where something happened, right? But now I want you to learn these words, because you will run into them in the Quran, you will run into them in ahadith, and you will use them when speaking. May Allah reward Abdul Rahman, mashallah, he texts me all the time in Arabic, you know. And he will realize from texting, dharf is always in use. Because you're going to talk about where you're going to meet, when you're going to meet, when you came, where you went, what time, all of that kind of stuff will come under the dharf. So some of the more popular and most used ones that I think you should all memorize, inshallah. Sabahan. Sabahan, what does it mean?
Morning.
In the morning. Excellent. Masa'an. In the evening. Masa, in the evening. Yawman. Daily. Or in the day. Right? Yawmiyan would mean daily. Laylatan. At night. Excellent. Ghadan. Afternoon. Ghadan can also mean tomorrow. It also means afternoon. Sanatan. Sanatan, yearly. Shahran, monthly. Tayyib. What types of dharf are these?
At times.
Excellent. Zaman. You guys are good. See how easy this was? This is difficult stuff, but you guys are taking it, mashallah, easily. Yeah, I'm telling you, like, this may seem easy, but if you talk to some of the brothers that have finished like 2-year and 4-year Arabic programs, they won't be able to break it down like this. Go do this. Find somebody you know who studied Arabic for a long time, 2 years, 4 years, and just go up to him and ask him, can you name me all the mansubat?
Don't do it.
Just do it. Just so you realize how much progress you're making. So you don't feel like, oh, it's too hard. Or you're making really great progress, mashallah. Tayyib. Imama. Not amama, that's with the ayn. Imama, in front, or at the top or the front of, right? Quddam, straight ahead. Now, what type of dharf have we started on this list? Makan, a place. Ain al-baytak, imam al-masjid. Where is your house? In front of the masjid. Mukarram. Tayyib. Quddam. You know in Saudi when you tell them they say gaddam, there is no ga in Arabic. They're trying to say quddam, but due to their perversion of the Arabic language and their accent. Did I just say that on recording? Quddam means to front, right? Khalf or khalfa. Behind or back. Excellent. Fawqa. Above. See, you don't need Rosetta Stone and bore yourself. Al-walad fawqa at-tawla. Go to sleep. Say it. Tahta. Under or below. Excellent. Thamma.
There, right?
Thamma.
There.
We just did this, brothers.
There.
There. Not thumma. You should remember this from the old days. Say wara.
Wara'a is behind.
Behind also. Tayyib. Inda.
With.
With. Tayyib. Ma'a. Next to or also with. Now, if I said he's with him or he's next to him or he's standing by him, they all give the same meaning, but there's slight differences. In Arabic, it's the same way. There may be a lot of words for the same thing, but in reality, when you look at sarf or you look at the root word and how it came, there are differences. And that's a beautiful thing. Like the word sword. You know, there's so many words in Arabic for sword, like sayf, but also muhannad, right? But there's a difference. Muhannad is a sword made in India. When a sword came from India, they called it muhannad, right? For example, if we look at the word for alcohol, Arabs had a lot of words for alcohol, right? But they all came from different roots and they had different slight variations in meaning. But right now, I mean, just understand the base meaning. Inshallah, as you develop more, then we'll get into sarf and development of why this word is different from this and in what context is it used differently and that kind of thing. Tayyib. So now these are all what types of maf'ul? Maf'ul fihi, which is also called dharf. Tayyib. Now, li'ajlihi, we're not doing today, but that would be in response of why. Right? Now, I want you guys to know these five well. Right? Ism inna, khabar kana, maf'ul bihi, maf'ul mutlaq, maf'ul fihi, including makan and zaman. Okay? I'm going to introduce the others right now, but we're not going to do them today.
Isn't maf'ul fihi also known as something else? Maf'ul lahu or something like that?
Maf'ul fihi is known as dharf. Maf'ul li ajlihi is also known as maf'ul lahu.
Lahu, yeah.
MashaAllah that you remember that. Tayyib. Now, maf'ul ma'hu. Ma'hu, with. There is wow. When you see a wow, sometimes it's atf, to joy. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's for qasam. Like wallahi. Right? So there, it's a qasam. Sometimes it's to show togetherness. And we'll get into that, inshallah, in the next dars. But I'm just introducing these. Maf'ul li ajlihi, or maf'ul lahu. Yani, when you memorize the Quran, why did you do it? You know, here we answer the question of when and where. Here we'll answer the question of why. Tayyib? Al-mustathna, when you have something that is taken out of something. Like if you say everything illa, right? We'll get into it. Munada, very important concept. Munada is when you're calling somebody. And there's more than one way, but the common and well-known, ya. And it's from the what? Mansubat. So if you ever hear somebody say, Ya Abu Fulan, you can know that their nahu is horrible. Because if you say ya, it should be what? Aba. I hear like khutub all the time, Khatib is like, and then Rasulullah ﷺ said, Ya Abu Bakr. Like, couldn't say Ya Abu Bakr, it has to be Ya Aba Bakr, right? Now, if you say Ya Uthman, is it Uthmanu or Uthmana? Uthmanu. Because munada only works on mudaf, or what we know as Asma al-Khamsa, which will become mudaf. So if you have Abd or Abu or Ibn or any of these things that will be mudaf, then it makes it. But if an ism comes in front of munada, it doesn't affect it. We'll get into it inshallah. But if you say Ya Dhul Jalali or Dhul Jalali wal Ikram. Dhul Jalali. Why? Because you said Ya. If you didn't say Ya, it would be Dhul Jalali wal Ikram. Do you say Ya Abdur Rahman or Ya Abdur Rahman? Abdur Rahman. Because mudaf. Ya Abdur Rahman. Regularly Abdur Rahman. But if you add the munada, it changes it. Tayyib. Hal and tamyiz. Hal is the, as you can tell from the word probably, is a condition. And tamyiz is telling you about that thing in itself. Hal is temporary. Like if I said, Kayfa halak, right? And you said, Jayyadan, right? That's your hal. خلق الإنسان ضعيفا. This is the hal, right? But if I said, this is made out of wood, is that a condition or is it a sifa of itself? It doesn't change. Like this won't become metal tomorrow by itself, right? So these are also mansubat, and inshallah that's all there is. Those easy 11.
If you say from Quran, Zaif, and then it never changed.
No, insan was created weak. And the meaning of this ayah is very deep. It's actually not about the weakness of strength. If you look at tafsir, it's about a man's ability to control himself with fitna of women. But many men and people are able to overcome that weakness. They're able to control themselves. You may be created a certain way, but you can change your way. For example, if somebody is born weak, like, physically, and then they work out and eat well and they eat food and they become strong, right? Somebody's born with weak vision and they drink carrot juice and don't throw it up, and they exercise their eyes can get stronger. So even if insan is created always in a rush and things, but some people, they can overcome that condition and they become patient. Now, on the other hand, insan is created from salsal or clay. That doesn't change, right? Difference between hal and tamyiz. See? Tayyib. If I said, I came here riding, is that hal or tamyiz? It's hal. When I got off my horse, which is called the Infinity, I'm no longer riding, right? If I saw Abdurrahman in ruku', I saw him raki'an, that is hal. When he gets up from ruku', that hal's over. But if I said Abdurrahman is half Mexican, half white, that's tamyiz. That can't change, even if you try. You could get the big African medallion and all that, but it doesn't change, bro. It doesn't change, man. You are what you are. So, inshallah, these are... We can edit that later. I'm just kidding. These are the 6 or the 5 that we've done, and the rest that we have introduced that we'll do in the next dars. And when we're done with mansubat, which inshallah in the next dars we will be, the rest is easy, because only 2 majrurat, easy. Tawabi', only 4, and they just follow, easy. And then we'll start getting into other fun stuff, like all the huruf al-jar and all their meanings and all the different types that there are. Well, that's it. So, inshallah, that's it. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
إلا تنصروه فقد نصره الله